Nicknamed the Alcatraz of the South, Louisiana State Penitentiary is the largest maximum security prison in the United States, holding some of the most dangerous serial killers. Welcome to the top 10 most dangerous prisoners inside Louisiana State Penitentiary. If you enjoy these longer form videos, then please remember to smash the like button to help this video rise in the YouTube algorithm. We have many more videos just like this one scheduled for the rest of the year. Number 10. Warren Harris Jr. Warren Harris Jr., also known as the French Quarter Stabber, is a convicted serial killer who targeted gay men in New Orleans during the late 1970s. At the age of 16, between February and April 1977, Harris fatally stabbed at least 3 men: Jack Saville, Alden Delano, and Ernest Pommier. He was also suspected in the deaths of Robert Gary and James McClure, but was only convicted for the 3 aforementioned murders. Harris was arrested on April 13, 1977, and later that year he was convicted on 3 counts of first-degree murder, receiving 3 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. His crimes instilled fear within New Orleans' LGBTQ+ community, as the victims were predominantly gay men, and the nature of the killings suggested a targeted pattern. In 2017, Louisiana enacted a law allowing individuals sentenced to life as juveniles to be eligible for parole after serving 25 years, and Harris was resentenced to life with parole in 2021. Number 9. Nathaniel Code, responsible for a string of brutal murders that took place in Shreveport between 1984 and 1987. His crimes shocked the state due to their sheer brutality, randomness, and the fact that the victims included entire families. Code broke into the home of his cousin, Anthony T. Code, and murdered him and Anthony's girlfriend, Frederica Thomas, on August 5, 1984. On July 19, 1985, he murdered Gerald and Joyce Foy and their 12-year-old son Shaun inside their Shreveport home. Then, on August 6, 1987, Code entered the home of Russell Annette and Thomas Voiles and killed their entire family. These attacks showed signs of planning, extreme violence, and sadistic overkill, yet the murders puzzled investigators for years, as the killings didn't initially appear connected. In 1987, following the Voiles family murders, Code was arrested after a witness placed him near the scene with physical evidence, including bloody clothing and a knife found in his possession. In custody, Code confessed to all 8 murders, giving specific details only the killer could know, later convicted in 1990 and sentenced to death for 4 counts of first-degree murder. Appeals have been filed over the years, but his death sentence remains, and Code is currently on death row at the Louisiana State Penitentiary. Number 8. David Brown. On March 19, 1985, 23-year-old Linda Brown was found shot to death in her Anaheim Hills home. Her 14-year-old stepdaughter Cinnamon Brown confessed to the murder, claiming she acted alone. However, investigators grew suspicious of inconsistencies in Cinnamon's confession and continued to probe the case while Cinnamon served her 14-year sentence. It was later revealed that David Brown had manipulated his daughter into committing the murder, convincing her that as a juvenile she would receive a lighter sentence, also involving his sister-in-law and secret lover Patty Bailey in the plot. David Brown's motive was financial gain. He had taken out multiple life insurance policies on Linda, totaling approximately $835,000, some of which were purchased just months before her death. While Cinnamon served her sentence, David Brown married Patty Bailey and began living a lavish lifestyle, raising further suspicions. In 1988, disillusioned and seeking justice, Cinnamon agreed to cooperate with authorities. She wore a wire during a prison visit, recording conversations in which her father incriminated himself. David Brown was arrested and charged with murder. During his trial, prosecutors presented the recorded conversations and evidence of his attempts to hire a hitman to kill key witnesses, including Patty Bailey and the lead prosecutor. In 1990, David Brown was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Patty Bailey pleaded guilty to her role in the crime and testified against Brown, receiving a reduced sentence. Number 7. Daniel Blank. Known as the River Parish's serial killer, Blank is responsible for a series of brutal murders in Louisiana between 1996 and 1997. Blank's killing spree resulted in the deaths of 6 individuals: Victor Rossi, Lillian Philippe, Barbara Bourgeois, Sam Arcuri, Luella Arcuri, and Joan Brock. Additionally, Blank attempted to murder Leonce and Joyce Millette, both 66 on July 7, 1997, in Gonzales. They survived and provided crucial information leading to a composite sketch that aided in Blank's identification. Blank's lavish spending at casinos, inconsistent with his reported income, raised suspicions. Subpoenas revealed he had significant gambling losses despite minimal reported earnings. He was arrested on November 14, 1997 in Onalaska, Texas. During a 12-hour interrogation, Blank confessed to the 6 murders, detailing each crime. In 1999, Blank was sentenced to death for the murder of Lillian Philippe. He received additional life sentences for other murders, including that of Joan Brock. In 2001, his death sentence was overturned, and he was resentenced to life imprisonment without parole, and is still incarcerated at the Louisiana State Penitentiary. Number 6. Anthony Bell. On that Sunday morning during a service at the Ministry of Jesus Christ Church in Baton Rouge, Bell confronted his estranged wife Erica Bell, seeking reconciliation. Upon her refusal, he left the church, returned armed with a revolver, and opened fire. He fatally shot 4 of Erica's relatives, including Leonard Howard, Gloria Howard, Dolores McGrew, and Darlene Mills Selvage. The church's pastor, Claudia Brown, who was also Erica's mother, was shot in the head but survived and later provided critical testimony. After the shooting, Bell abducted Erica and their 3 children, later killing Erica at a nearby apartment complex. He then called 911, falsely claiming she had committed suicide. Bell was arrested the same day and charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted first-degree murder. His trial commenced in March 2008. In April 2008, the jury found Bell guilty on all counts. Subsequently, they unanimously recommended the death penalty for each murder charge. On September 11, 2008, District Judge Todd Hernandez formally sentenced Bell to 5 consecutive death sentences and an additional 50 years for the attempted murder of Claudia Brown. Bell is currently incarcerated on death row at the Louisiana State Penitentiary, and all appeals have, so far, been unsuccessful. Number 5. Jeffrey Clark. Convicted for the 1984 murder of Andrew H. Cheswick during an armed robbery in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Clark was initially sentenced to death. His sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment without parole. While serving his sentence at the Louisiana State Penitentiary, Clark participated in a failed escape attempt with 4 other inmates, collectively known as the Angola 5. The plan involved smuggling improvised weapons into the prison's education building, leading to an attack on prison guards, and took hostages, later murdering corrections captain David Knaps. In 2011, Clark was sentenced to death for Captain Knaps's murder. As of 2025, he remains on death row at Angola prison. Upon appeal, Clark presented 37 assignments of error, contending that his conviction and death sentence were unjust and should be reversed. The Supreme Court of Louisiana thoroughly reviewed each assignment of error, examining the evidence and legal arguments presented, and found no merit in any of the challenges, affirming both Clark's conviction and death sentence. Number 4. Ronald Dominique. Known as the Bayou Strangler, Dominique is known as one of the most prolific serial killers in Louisiana's history. Between 1997 and 2006, he murdered at least 23 men and boys across southeastern Louisiana. His crimes targeted vulnerable individuals, often homeless or marginalized, whom he lured with promises of money or shelter. Dominique's arrest on December 1, 2006, followed a report from a man who escaped an attempted assault. DNA evidence subsequently linked Dominique to multiple murders. During interrogation, he confessed to raping and murdering 23 individuals over a decade. He stated that he killed his victims to prevent them from reporting the assaults, fearing a return to prison. To avoid the death penalty, Dominique pleaded guilty to 8 counts of first-degree murder. On September 23, 2008, he was sentenced to 8 consecutive life terms, without the possibility of parole. Dominique is currently incarcerated at the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola, serving his life sentences. Number 3. Larry Roy. On May 3rd, 1993, Roy broke into the home of his former girlfriend, Sally Richard, who had recently reconciled with her ex-husband, Freddie Richard Jr. Armed with a knife, Roy fatally stabbed Freddie Richard Jr. and then attacked Sally and her 2 young sons, yet, despite their severe injuries, Sally and her children survived. Roy proceeded to another room where he murdered 75-year-old Rosetta Silas by stabbing her to death. After the attack, Roy fled the scene. He was apprehended 2 days later in Bunkie, Louisiana. In July 1994, a Rapides Parish jury found Roy guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder. The jury unanimously recommended the death penalty, and on August 30th, 1994, Judge Alfred Mansour formally sentenced Roy to death. This case was notable as it marked the first time an all-white jury sentenced an African-American man to death for a black-on-black capital crime in Louisiana, though race was not reported as a factor in the trial. Roy has been on death row since his sentencing. In February 2025, Rapides Parish District Attorney Philip Terrell obtained a death warrant for Roy, scheduling his execution for March 29, 2025. This move was part of Louisiana's efforts to resume executions after a 15-year hiatus. However, the warrant was withdrawn when defense attorneys argued that Roy had not exhausted all of his appeals. Number 2. Todd Wessinger. On the morning of November 19, 1995, Wessinger, a former dishwasher at Calendar's restaurant, arrived at the establishment on a bicycle armed with a .380 semi-automatic pistol. Upon entering through the rear door, he shot bartender Mike Armentor twice in the back, causing severe abdominal injuries. He then attempted to shoot dishwasher Alvin Ricks in the head, but the gun jammed. As Ricks fled, Wessinger fired again, but the weapon misfired and Wessinger proceeded to the manager's office, where 27-year-old Stephanie Gazzardo was attempting to call 911. Despite her pleas for mercy, he shot her through the heart, resulting in her death within seconds. He then stole approximately $7,000 from the office. In the kitchen, he discovered 46-year-old cook David Breakwell hiding in a cooler and fatally shot him as well. Wessinger fled the scene on his bicycle. Armentor survived his injuries, while Gazzardo and Breakwell died from their wounds. Wessinger was apprehended in Garland, Texas, 9 days later and extradited to Louisiana. In June 1997, an East Baton Rouge Parish jury found him guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder. The jury unanimously recommended the death penalty, and he was formally sentenced to death in September 1997, and as of 2025, Wessinger remains on death row at the Louisiana State Penitentiary. All his appeals have failed. Number 1. Shaun Vincent Gillis. Born on June 24, 1962 in Baton Rouge, Gillis was raised primarily by his mother after his father abandoned the family shortly after his birth. His early criminal record included minor offences such as traffic violations and drug possession. However, these infractions belied the horrific crimes he would later commit. Between 1994 and 2004, Gillis murdered at least 8 women, ranging in age from 29 to 82, and these crimes were marked by extreme brutality. Gillis was apprehended on April 29, 2004, after DNA evidence and tyre tracks linked him to the murder of Donna Bennett Johnston. Upon arrest, he confessed to the murders and provided detailed accounts of his crimes. In 2007, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder in the case of Joyce Williams. The following year, he was tried and convicted on 3 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Catherine Hall, Johnny May Williams, and Donna Bennett Johnston. He received multiple life sentences sentences without the possibility of parole. Currently, Shaun Vincent Gillis is incarcerated at the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola, serving his life sentences, and his case remains one of the most disturbing in Louisiana's history. Thanks for watching. For more true crime videos, you can check out the playlist on this screen, another true crime video, and subscribe to the channel for more videos publishing every Saturday.